move right along. Session 2. The objectives are on the screen. Describe how to establish formwork locations and elevations. Describe how to use control points when establishing formwork locations and elevations. Explain how to use leveling instruments, how to measure horizontal distances, and explain how to measure vertical distances. We will do a kickoff activity and review the foundation plan from a set of the plans from the Wilhelmina house. Identify the following items on the plan: the control points, pits or sumps, piles or caissons, and piping system preparations. Preparing for foundation work. For a typical foundation, once the structure design is complete, the job site must be laid out and the building lines established by surveying methods. The foundation must then be excavated and prepared. Any piles or pilings or caissons must be placed in subsurface drainage, utility, sewage piping systems installed, backfilled, and compacted. Once these items are complete, concrete formwork for the foundation can begin. So you have to put the infrastructure in before you start forming up for the concrete. Foundation, concrete formwork. Concrete formwork for the foundation is installed in the following sequence. Forms of the interior pits are installed first along with the reinforcing steel. Second, the structure footing forms are installed with reinforcing steel, along with any required conduit or piping and any embedded items such as casting for machinery bases, slumps, and manholes. Any foundation walls, if required, are installed along with reinforcing and any required conduit and piping. The forms for the concrete foundation slab over the footings or foundation walls are installed along with any required reinforcement stakes. Control points. Site layout involves establishing a network of control points that serve as a common reference for all construction on a site. In most states, any layout work that establishes legal property lines or boundaries must be done by a registered surveyor. Control points, along with measuring and leveling equipment, are used to establish the location and levelness of forms, like we talked about yesterday, using a water level or a laser level to form up your house footprint. The exact locations of these control points are marked at the site and recorded in surveyors' field notes as they are made. Categories of control points. There are 3 basic categories of control points. You got the primary, the secondary, and the building layout or working. The primary can be located and marked on many kinds of permanent and immovable objects. When no suitable permanent object is available, iron stakes driven into the ground or concrete monument. Like I mentioned yesterday, for the DOT, they have those concrete slabs and they have RW written on top, and that stands for right of way. So with a concrete monument dug and placed into the ground can be used. These points are typically established by a registered surveyor. Secondary, located by the contractor's field crew within the job site to aid in the construction of the individual structures on site. Building layout or working, usually located by the contractor's field crew with reference to the secondary control point. These are points from which a measurement of construction can be taken. So if you build part of your house and you're blocking the view from the secondary point, you can use another building layout or working point to set up a new measurement. Leveling instruments, there's a builder's level. It's hooked to a three-legged tripod. These are also called transits, used to check and establish the grade and elevation along the property lines and to set up level points over long distances. Then an automatic level used to perform the same measurement and operate and describe for the builder's level. They automatically maintain true level line of sight. The tripod they mount them on. Leveling rods, you have a telescoping type, then the standard wooden type that slides back and forth. They consist of two or more movable sections, allowing the rod to be adjusted to different heights. Laser levels emit a high-intensity light beam, which is detected by an electronic sensor at distances up to 1,000 feet. So you have to have these little flags, put your instrument laser in the middle, and it'll shoot out a beam. And then you get registered through all those specific heights will be exact. Horizontal distances, measuring horizontal distances across level ground requires two people. The distance across the ground is simply measured with a tape. Horizontal distances, a series of steps are needed to measure horizontal slopes across the slope. This is called breaking the tape. Measuring vertical distances or elevations is called differential leveling. Vertical distances can be measured using a builder's level and a leveling rod. The bottom of the rod must be placed in the proper location and then held vertically so the instrument person can see it through the transit. The instrument person reads the rod through the builder's level telescope. So if you look at this diagram here, you see the rod set up in the dip and it reads 5'6". You see the rod is set up over here on the top of the hill and it's reading 2'6". And over here, it's reading 7'6" because the valley gets deeper. So you record each one of them and determine the different grades on that property. Wrap-up activity. Review the manufacturer's instructions for using a leveling instrument. We'll have that opportunity here next week. Identify the recommended steps for canceling measuring errors. Section 1, review questions. Removal of forms after concrete has cured is referred to as B, stripping. Any site layout work that establishes legal boundaries must be done by a D, registered surveyor. The procedure used to measure horizontal distance across a steep slope is called breaking the tape. To calculate the elevation of the first turning point, subtract the first from the high. Okay, that ends the PowerPoint presentation for Section 2, Foundations and Slabs on Grade. And that pretty much is going to conclude our Zoom meeting because they only have I don't have so many minutes for this free version, and you know where to get the other PowerPoints for tomorrow on the LMS. I will upload this video as well, and if you can study, I see you shaking your head. Yes, if you can study your review questions, we will try to get that test finished up first thing Monday or an hour or so into class. All right. There you are. What's up, Ricardo? I'm doing well, thank you. Yes. Yep. That's all right. Yes. Yeah, the post that will be setting in those holes with the called footers. The footers at the bottom of that hole what the post rests on, and then the actual post that comes out of the ground, that would be considered a foundation for that deck. It's basically everything that's underground that supports a building above it. So a deck, a house, a storage shed, or even in the water where they put a dock, like a walking dock, and they put pilings in the ground. That would be a foundation as well. So everything that's below ground that supports a structure above is considered a foundation. Yep. Does that answer your question, buddy? All righty. Anything else? You good? You good? I guess I might set up another meeting for tomorrow about the same time, about 1:15, and we'll go over the other one just so I can give everybody a chance to practice getting on Zoom and accessing all this. Hey, I appreciate you, Ricardo. You have a good day. All right, buddy. Take care.